Alright, so I just put my camera in. What you need to do is drill a hole right where this camera wire would go through. You can just literally use a drill with a bit. Use something kind of big because it'll chunk the foam out, and then you can run your wire through. And then what you got to do too is you got to kind of bury it on the inside of this wall. I don't know if we can kind of see that. We're gonna cut some material out, and we're gonna try to follow this cable through, and then we'll punch it through under here, under the vinyl. Right? All right. Yep, just make like a little channel in the foam, just like we did with all the servo pockets and the electronics pockets. Just got to make like a little channel, just enough for these wires to sit in, and then you can either hot glue them into place or tape them, whatever you got to do. Alright, it looks pretty deep. A little too deep in some sections, but that's fine. I needed it deep for this thing to sit. Honestly, it might just sit in there nice by itself. Can I see? Just sitting in there. And then what we're going to do is try to punch a hole through this other side. I do have a drill handy, so maybe I'll just drill it in. Okay. Drill that through, so let's see if we can fish it through without snagging. Pushing wires through foam is not the funnest thing in the world. Done a lot of different projects where it involves trying to run wiring through foam, and it can be a headache, no joke. Takes some practice. Looks like we got 2 of the wires. Where'd that red wire go? Found it. Buried in there, coiled up on itself. Alright, cool. So there's our camera wiring. Kind of push this stuff back in. Like I said, you can hot glue this stuff in too, so it's out of the way of the battery, but right now it's kind of out of the way. So there's our camera wires. That's done. Got all of our servo wires here. Next would be the VTX wiring. Our left pad, RX would be for smart audio, which would be sweet, but I'm not running Crossfire, so I won't be able to run that, or a flight controller. So we'll just run power, ground, and video. Alright, we're there. And now I have everything ready to go. I got the camera power and ground tied in with the VTX power and ground because they're going to share 5 volts. And then I came up with a solution here. I found a little, this is basically a Y adapter. I cut the ends off. There's usually female servo connectors on them. This is the male servo connector. This is going to plug into here for 5 volts. So we're going to utilize this as the, so this will go into this for 5 volts, and then it's going to also share it with camera and VTX. And then this will go to the BEC, and this is going to go to camera, VTX, power, and ground. Okay. Alright, we're all set there. Alright, now we got to hook up to the BEC. There's an in and out on this thing. No. That's how we want to look at it. So inside is going to be battery inputs. Outside is going to be our servo connector. So let's get this soldered to our servo connector. Before we plug this thing in, this is an adjustable BEC. Plus, minus. Okay. Yeah, so we're good there. And then what we need to do now is grab our ESC. We're going to share the power and ground off of this for the input of the BEC. So I need to run a little jumper wire there. Alright, so we got our power and ground done on our BEC. I actually might do, we should measure output voltage actually. Oh wait, we can't yet because this needs to go into our battery input. Alright, so let's get that done. Alright. Power and ground done. So, guess what we can do too. God, it's starting to look like a mess in here, eh? Alright, back out. So, we'll get it organized, don't worry. Looks ridiculous in here, but once it's all jammed in and taped down, you won't even notice it anymore. Ground is in. Only thing about a lighter, it gets a little bit of that black shit on there. Whatever. Alright, there's our XT30. So what we're going to do now is we're going to test output voltage. I wanted to undo this just in case because we have this connected right now. So what we're going to do is test our output voltage after we plug in our battery. Plug it in and we'll see where we're at. grab our meter leads, and we'll test them. Holy crap, I think we're at like 10 volts. 10.5 volts, that would have been ugly. I guess up in that 5.3 maybe. 5.2, that'll work. Okay, now our voltage is set. Yeah, we're ready to plug everything in and test it. We're gonna test camera output as well as VTX channels and all that stuff. So let's plug in this battery. Okay, so we got lights on over here. Let's see if we have any output. Holy crap, we got a camera output. Nice. Nice clear video too. Sweet. Well, there it is, guys. We got that all done. That's ready. I don't know what output or anything we're running. I probably shouldn't use, I don't know, I should probably find like a piece of plastic to change this stuff with, but I'll have to look at the manual and see what we're outputting on and everything. But we do have video. Yeah, next thing now is let's get this ESC soldered up. Grab my little tweezers. Number 1. Number 2. I mean, honestly, it really doesn't matter which motor direction you're going. Just make sure you put the right prop on. A lot of these props that we're buying for these ones are multi-rotor props, so they have both directions in the box, so you don't really have to worry about much there. So that's nice. Yeah, just make sure this stuff's nice and tight before you tape it down. Yeah, and then we're just gonna literally tape everything down. I'm gonna use clear packing tape. That's gonna work the best. All right. Tape up some of this stuff here. I'm just kind of finishing up here. You're not really supposed to be taping over like VTX and wiring like that, but in this case, we fly in the winter, I prefer this not getting wet at all. Yeah, I have some clearance in there, so hopefully it has a little breathing room, and plus being out in the cold just should help. Got servos taped in. Only thing next is going to be this stuff here, this whole bay section. So after we're done with all this stuff, last thing we got to do is glue on some winglets. That is literally the last thing we got to do. Then probably figure out my antenna situation here. I don't know what I'm going to do yet over there. So, but yeah, let's get this done, and then maybe we'll show you how to do some radio setup. So there is a Delta configuration in here. I'm guessing the mix is already set up, which would be awesome. Looks like channel 3 is throttle. So what you need to do is change your throttle and everything in the, change your servo connectors. So we need to switch this to channel 3. Alright, I had to break out the instructions here on how to bind. It's pretty easy. You just turn it on and then hit the bind button while you're in the menu option here. I kind of see if I can show you. If I even remember how to do it. Yeah, it's in the model setup, I believe. Yep, way down at the bottom here. So you just got to bind it in D8 mode on these little 4-channel receivers. Then once you're done, you should have outputs. The mix is correct, but I think 2 of my servos are either backwards, or I got to change the mix to be opposite. So let me just try changing servos quick. I think that'd be the quickest choice here. I have right now hooked up is backwards. Now my ailerons are backwards. Elevator's right though, so I think elevator's the main one. I think it's easier to change the aileron output versus the elevator, so let's see if I know how to do that. Hold model, let's page over. So we got our inputs, those should be good. I think it's the mix you want to change. Like I said, the ailerons are backwards, so I think we just need to reverse both of these, if I remember right. Let's see if I can edit it. Maybe I'll go -50 on this one. I'll go positive. Maybe both would have to be negative then. We'll try doing that once and see what happens. So that was our aileron right. I don't know, here's another aileron here. So let's go go -50 on this one too. Let's see if it makes it work or not. Yay! Okay, so first try, got her done. Honestly, our throws don't look bad. I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about here as far as what they're looking like. Go. So yeah, here's the amount of throw we got. Here, let me try to zoom out here so you don't. Ooh, that's the wrong way. All right. Hard to tell. There we go. It seems pretty good. I think I'm just gonna add a little expo in here, so let's figure out how to do that quick. Zoom in on this, show you how to add some expo in here. Yeah, like the inputs here. Let's try changing these. Yeah, there's the graph. Expo. There we go. That's what we want, guys. I think expo in this is a lot different than spectrum. So I'm gonna go 30 just for, because it doesn't look like a lot on the graph. Let's just go 40. Let's go 40 expo on aileron. So we'll back out of that. And then we'll just do, yeah, I wonder if I can change it. No. Edit. Change this to expo. And we'll go 40 on here. That's for elevator. Yeah, and that should be literally all we need. Aileron, elevator, expo. Oh yeah, it feels good too. I'm gonna test my trims as well. So that's kind of a thing I ran into with trim flighting a guy. So let's get out of the menu options here. We'll go to our main page. I'm gonna trim right aileron.
Maximum trim reached.
Okay, so it actually trimmed out, so that's great. It trimmed the correct way.
Trim center.
Now the main one here is elevator. We want to make sure this is trimmed right.
Minimum
Yay.
trim reached.
So these also trim correctly.
Trim center.
On a wing I flew one time, they were backwards. Elevator was backwards, so that was not cool. I had to figure that out because I was pulling back as much as I could. It was just diving harder, so it was really difficult to trim. But now that that's set, all right, so the prop we have on here now is backwards. We're spinning the wrong way. So what I need to do is either do a new prop, otherwise we can resolder these. I might just do the other prop just because I just covered my whole ESC up with tape. So I think I'm just going to put a different prop on and call it a day. So let's get a new prop on this thing. Let's throw some winglets on and hopefully let's go fly this thing today, huh? Everything's in. I know it's not the prettiest like looking build with all this tape. I decided to do antennas like that on there. But yeah, we're kind of ready to go. We just got to get these on, so let's hurry up. I'm getting excited. So I like to rough up the surface. Just helps the hot glue get a little bit of something to hold on to. So that's that side, and then this is this side. Okay, rough up the surface a little bit. We're ready to go there. So yeah, let's get these babies on there. Usually I'll throw the hot glue on the surface itself, and you got to be pretty quick about this. So let's make it happen. Just a decent bead right down the middle, and then get your winglet ready, and then you want to line it up as good as you can before the hot glue sets. I kind of have a point of reference on where I'm going on this, so I'm just going to stick with it on both sides. And you want to use the lines. You want to use the lines as your reference. I know you kind of can't see them like I can, but just hold this there. Make sure you're holding this there for at least 30 seconds. Let this set up real nice. So both of them look real good. We're looking fancy on both sides. I like it. Alright, and then I usually put a little bit of hot glue right in the camera input here. It kind of, you don't want to, don't put a ton in here, but this is nice just to kind of help waterproof it a little bit. Also holds the camera in place. This is kind of what I do for all my cameras. You can do tape if you want to do tape instead, but this is nice just because you can get it off when you're ready. So double check your CG. Make sure your CG is good. I'm gonna check mine now before I get everything ready here. But yeah, let's get ready to go and let's get flying this thing. I'm like super excited. Hopefully you guys can kind of use the information I have in these videos to help you out with your builds. And feel free to do it differently. I mean, I just literally slapped this together just because I want to get this thing in the air. I didn't spend that much time on it. I'm just way excited to fly this thing, so let's make it happen.